Hello guys and gals, it is Soulfax here and welcome to another episode of Mondays with Soulfax. On this beautiful day, have you got your coffee? Well, I have a cup of mine, so... it's beautiful. It's such a really beautiful day outside and I do plan on not staying indoors for the rest of this day and trying to gather up a couple of people and just go outside and enjoy the sun and stuff like that. But that's not what we're here for. We are here for talking about shit. So firstly, I gotta say that I know that I was supposed to release an episode this Friday, but it just wasn't really happening. And if you've been following my Twitter, which you really should, because I do post a lot of updates on my Twitter, and I'm generally a very funny person. Trust me, follow my Twitter, it's gonna be really fun. If you've been following my Twitter, you might have noticed that I was struggling with this script because, well, I do like to write. I really do like to write, and I like to put a lot of embellishments in my writing and put a lot of large unnecessary descriptions in my writing, and then what that does, it bloats up the number of words in my scripts. And what that does, it means that I'm going to be writing my script for a hell of a lot longer, and it's going to take me a hell of a lot longer to both finish the script and to do the recording for that episode. But fear not, the script is almost finished. I only need to write the last part of the script, which I'm honestly dreading about because it's going to be very hard to do something particularly interesting there because it's just a straight out fight scene. I don't want to spoil it too much, but the last part of the script and the video is going to be a straight out fight scene, which is going to either turn out very well or just completely crappy. But anyhow, what else has happened in my life this past week? Well, this next story didn't happen the past week, it happened a couple of weeks back, and it's just the same thing that I've told you a couple of months back. It is another one of those gaming quizzes in that little place that I described as a community center / nightclub. So a couple of weeks back, me and a couple of friends again went to this quiz, and this time, unlike the previous times, I did actually compete in the quiz. Because they needed somebody to compete because one of their guys just said like, nope, I have shit to do. And I said, yes, my time is finally started. And we won. We of course won with a lot of help from me because, well, everybody knows that I was the MVP of that team. There's absolutely no freaking contest or discerning opinions on this. I was the MVP of that team. And the guest of that quiz, that particular quiz, were Crow Team, the Croatian development team that is responsible for games such as Serious Sam. And Serious Sam is a lovely little game that I won by competing in that quiz. Yes, it's a weird sentence, I know. We all won a copy of Serious Sam 3 BFE. I don't know what BFE stands for, maybe Bad Fucker Edition. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's a lovely little game, but it's really not my thing. I don't like these kind of games where just enemies comes pouring out from all sides and you need to shoot them and it's just need like dodge around them. It's really not my thing, but I did enjoy my limited time with the game. But one thing that I want to point out is that other than just being their Crow Team, that is, and talking about their video games and answering our questions about their video games, they also brought a functioning setup for VR, for their Serious Sam VR game with, I think it was Oculus Rift was a headset. And I got a chance to try that out, and that was the first time that I tried out a proper VR game. I did try one on Infogamer Reboot, which is a Croatian, a video game fair where there's a lot of video game things. It is like PAX East or E3 or stuff like that, but it's just smaller and shittier, and it's in Croatia. I did get to try PSVR on that, and that was shitty, and it was really not very impressive. But now that I've tried Serious Sam VR in Oculus Rift, I gotta say that I want an Oculus Rift, and I want to play more of Serious Sam VR, because that was such a great experience. That was so exhilarating and so much fun that I wish that I had some sort of a gameplay to show you, but even the gameplay itself really doesn't justify or explain to you how fun it was to have the freedom of having two motion control sticks and having a VR headset that you can independently turn from your controls or your motion control sticks, and then it's just such freedom to do something that you could never do in a regular first-person shooter, like look in one way and shoot in the other way. And it's such an amazing thing. It's so much fun. It is so much fun. So my recommendation to any of you that might own a Oculus Rift or a HTC Vive, do try and acquire a copy of Serious Sam VR, because it's such a fun experience. Even for half an hour, it's really a fun experience, and from what I've seen, there's a lot of replayability in that game because there's a lot of levels and there's a lot of bosses, so yeah, it's an amazing little game, do try it out. But anyhow, what else has happened this week? Well, just yesterday, I've been browsing the Twitters like I usually do, and I saw that there was a new video out by Jim Sterling. You might know him for his famous show, The Jimquisition, where he takes a video game and proceeds to dissect that video game and sometimes takes a huge dump on the said video game. Now, the last big video game that he did a Jimquisition on was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and a lot of people got very upset that he didn't give Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. He gave it a modest, well, I say modest, in today's terms, when you look at the other mainstream gaming websites, 7 out of 10 is a modest, but in a proper real-life human world, 7 out of 10 is a great score for, well, just about anything. So he gave Zelda 7 out of 10, and a lot of people were very angry at him for that, and how do I even start talking about the mainstream media and the cancer that is fanboyism in this society? Well, not in the society, excuse me, in the video games community. So first things first, am I a fanboy? Do I consider myself to be a fanboy? No, I don't, and I do somewhat, because while I do not religiously defend or purchase products from a single company or from a single person, I am a huge fan of two directors, of Hideo Kojima and Hidetaka Miyazaki. Hideo Kojima is of course the man behind Metal Gear Solid, and Hidetaka Miyazaki is the man behind Dark Souls and Bloodborne, King's Field, and Demon Souls and games such as that. And while I do love both of them and consider the games to be amazing and worth playing for everybody needs to play Dark Souls and Metal Gear Solid 3, everybody. I will not go out of my way to purchase anything that they have produced. That is because I value my money and value my time, and I do have some sort of integrity. If a game is bad, I will not purchase it, whether or not it was produced by either Kojima or Miyazaki. That is the end of it. Now, the culture of fanboyism means that you will defend to the death anything that is produced by a person or released by a company. A more mainstream example would be Apple and people that buy iPhones and Mac tablets, even though they know that you can buy the same shit for less money, but this thing has the Apple logo on it. And the people love Apple for some reason. I really don't know why. The thing has never gone to my head, and I never understood why you would buy a $1,000 phone, and yes, that is what they cost on release in Croatia, over a $500 phone that is twice the size and twice better in hardware and things that you can do on it. So really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So as I was saying, Jim Sterling gave Legend of Zelda a 7 out of 10, and people started calling him a Sony shill and started accusing him of trying to intentionally sabotage the sales of Breath of the Wild Legend of Zelda. Now, first of all, you fucking idiots. How the fuck can one person that has less than 1 million subscribers on YouTube sabotage sales of a single video game that has been released 10 days before this video has been itself released? What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you know how video games work and how purchasing video games work? Most sales of a certain video games are going to be made on the first day the video game is released, and then subsequent days after, the sales drop off to a point where they only make maybe 10 to 20 sales per day depending on the video game. And Legend of Zelda is a Nintendo game. It is a game that has come out just recently, and it's a continuation of a multiple decade-long series. And Zelda has a lot of fanboys behind it. And those same fanboys are one of the reasons why the gaming industry is in its current state, where game developers and game publishers can release a half-ass product that is half-finished, that runs as shit and plays as shit, because they know that if they just stick a logo on it, Zelda, Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, Mario, Call of Duty, Battlefield, or any of the other long-standing series, there will always be literally a million people who will go out and buy it just because of that fucking logo. I do apologize for being a little bit harsh on fanboys, but I will not apologize for being harsh on people who try and intentionally sabotage the whole entirety of the video game industry. Because when you have a group of people that will buy a video game regardless of its quality just because it's produced by a single person or produced by a company or a part of a long-standing series of video games, you effectively telling the people that are making video games that if you make something popular enough, if you hype it up enough, they can get away with absolutely anything. One of the examples would be the recently re-released remake of Modern Warfare, or is it Modern Warfare 2? I'm not really sure, I'm not really into Call of Duty games. But anyhow, they released I think a 10-year-old video game in which they decided to again sell you DLCs that were not part of the original game because, well, when you make a remake, you really gotta try and milk that shit as hard as you can, Activision, right? Fuck you, Activision. And also they had the fucking audacity to take out weapons that were originally in Modern Warfare and sell them to you via fucking microtransactions. And this is what happens when you buy anything that the developers fucking publish. This is exactly what happens. If you start buying anything what a dev publishes, that effectively sends them a message that they can do absolutely anything they want with their video game. They can try and release it before time just to satisfy your fucking need to purchase this game, which you probably already purchased because you're a piece of shit and you pre-order games, which you shouldn't do. Stop pre-ordering games, you fucking idiots. And also it tells them that they can release half-finished products because they can later sell you a bunch of DLCs because you will again buy them because you're a fucking fanboy. You stupid idiot, stop buying Activision games, you fucking moron. And this doesn't just apply to Activision, oh fucking no, Ubisoft, EA, Sony, Konami, I can just go on and name companies that have been shitty about their products, that released half-finished video games that barely work, and then later decided to sell you a whole bunch of DLC because you will buy it, you moron. It's just not how it's supposed to be. Video games used to be something other than just a product that was being sold to the community. There was something other for the developers to work on than just try and make as much as money as humanly possible. And what mainstream video games today, and I'm talking about AAA video games, are, they're basically just profit. The only thing they focus on is profit. And that is not something that I can get behind to, because when you put profit on your first place, you will most definitely be compromising the quality of your product and the enjoyment the consumer can get from it. And you will be trying to break the back of your fucking consumer by making them spit out as much as money as they can in the shortest amount of time possible. And that is bad business. It works, but it's bad fucking business in the long run, because sooner or later people will get educated. People will realize that no, pre-ordering is not a very good idea because you don't know what you're going to get, and you just incentivize the company to continue with its shitty practices of releasing half-finished awful products and not release a single new interesting video game. So yeah, on that note, I want to finish this episode of Mondays with Soulfax, which is probably going to be released on a Tuesday because it's now Monday and I have a lot of writing to do. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I didn't insult you too much, but if you're a fanboy, go absolutely fuck yourself in the ass, you piece of human shit. My name has been Soulfax, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.